Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox.
All right. Ready? I turn, you press start. It's next to the preheater.
He's downplaying his excitement. The lieutenant is more than happy to show off his precious carriage. The dashboard lights up with orange glow. The rounds per minute gauge jumps, and the engine of the Caprice Canadian comes to life with a whiny growl. The lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground before the vehicle.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just need to stand in front of the machine now.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone. As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, an iridescent hologram appears. A street grid and the veins of a great river. A familiar sensation washes over you.
There she is. Revachol West.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations. The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet the major arteries of Revachol are all recognizable. They shimmer in the Kanema's headlights.
Let me see. Right here. No, it does not.
There are many of them, and they are divided into 3 separate rows. The first row has 18 dots. Not bad for what? You don't even know what it means yet. The next is the longest. It runs all the way around the border, and then some. There are so many, it's hard to count. More than 150, at least. The last row has 3 perforations. That's it.
Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM. They are your statistics, as it were. I should have guessed you'd keep a record. Officers often do. Let's take a...
Alpha male officers who are proud of their numbers often do. It's meant.
The first row represents your years of service. 18 years. Okay, not bad at all. What did you do before you volunteered? Fair point. Let's move on, shall we? This next row, the one that wraps all the way around, is your number of closed cases. Closed is good. It means finished. You've got, let's see... Wow, more than 200! It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually, clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers. Right. Those are your confirmed kills. You've got precisely 3 perforations there. For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is in the Jamrock quarter, it's rather tame. I mean that in a good way. There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do happen to solve a case, it's usually by accident. But it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for. Yes.
It's not a problem for him to state it, however. The lieutenant nods.
Right. I'll go turn off the lights.
You can now see your statistics on your journal page, to the right of the task description.
The unpromising race pupil returns. He does not so much as glance at the object.
Stop showing me your pathetic cup. I have no interest in it.
He had nothing to do with it.
And Everyone can see that. It has little to do with the...
Baby, don't be mean. Give him another chance.
Anything for you, babe. Look, babe. The mignon of law is also a racist. But his racism is basic and rote. He thinks he has solved the great race enigma by describing a rote mechanism of scientific competition.
So unadvanced.
The basic race education he received in high school has led him to think his phylum are the sole authors of race theory. An esoteric study reaching back to the ancient mass society of Pericarnassus over basic racist. I take pity on you. You clearly want to enter the harbor bad, like a little boy who wants to go on the potty. I can press the button for you. It will open the door. Very well. You may enter the door once. Our race conversation here has concluded.
Finally. Let's go.
The unpromising race pupil returns. The unpromising race pupil returns.
On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
Let's see what's inside, he thinks. The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara, and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Kuron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics would be able to really make sense of it. However, there is a little handwritten note stuck on the side of the drawer. It appears to be a to-do list written in large, uneven. Remember, Leo, Everart's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everart's plants, sweep office floor, more banners. All items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself is crumpled.
Evrart Claire, probably, the head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must have left it. Nothing incriminating here.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. Remember, Leo, all items on the list have been crossed out and the note itself, the drawer slides shut smoothly. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change." Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. The white rectangle of the Revachol Citizens Militia is... This is your cloak. You can feel it.
Yes, it does bear the RCM insignia, and we are the only detectives in Martinez. The service cloak issued to you by your station? Yes, I do.
As your fingers touch the tarpaulin, I will shield you from the elements and give my life for yours. That's what... Snow is quietly covering the numerous wine bottles and cigarette butts on the ground. Someone partied really, really hard here.
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you. Yes, this scene isn't exactly ripping with joy. Let's just move on.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather. The chair is not as austere as the rest of the booth. A thin grey pillow is attached to the seat, secured to the stiles by black ribbons. Stale air floods through your nostrils. Not a single mote of dust floats inside your lungs, though. The inside of the booth is immaculate. You stand and exit the booth.
If you must. But please hurry, we are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and their sparse contents meticulously organized. There's a framed photograph on the table. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man, René, is dressed in a Royal Carabinieri uniform. The girl is young and very pretty. She is smiling playfully at the camera. René looks like he's about to smile. This photo must be tied to some good memories.
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fascination, but sure, as long as it doesn't take up a whole lot of time.
This is the night watchman's booth. Rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. Marche. On.
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The lyrics to this container song are being made up as he goes along. The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisund on Muindi.
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Evrart. Evrart, 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 he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister?
The look in his deep blue eyes is as sincere as you've ever seen. Kind of makes you feel like an arsehole for no apparent reason.
I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Yes, yes, everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way, Leonard Bellick, but everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everart's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Evrart is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am, yes I am. Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Evrart put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly.
He respects that word. That's obvious.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood, knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day, I'm sure.
For a fraction of a second, there's sadness in his eyes.
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years, she has.
So Evrart trained a lawyer named Miss Beaufort. Interesting.
Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Evrart put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly.
He respects that word.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in the...
For a fraction of a second, that...
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy. Dr. Lemaitre said so, and she knows about such things. Been a doctor...
So Evrart trained a lawyer named Miss Beaufort. Interesting.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot, really. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass for them here.
The white rectangle on your clothes might not mean an awful lot in Martinaise, but the recognition from an authority figure made Leo's day.
Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up. Oh, yes, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. I almost forgot about the borscht. Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men every day since the strike started. It's very, very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done. Yes, yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm inside. They brew it in the whirling in rags. Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir. Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Evrart is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Evrart sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Evrart telling them to take some time off.
Don't go all bad cop on this simple, friendly fellow.
I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hardies.
Look at him. It's not gonna be anything useful anyway. Don't fight it. Better to go with the flow. Too late. Leo's mouth is still moving, and the words are spewing forth. Words, words, and look, even more words. This now he's talking about some drunk sawmill owner who, no, he already switched to a prized fishing rod he apparently owned at some point. You know what? Just cut in there with your questions.
Oh, you want Mr. Evrart then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighborhood. Guys like Mr. Evrart and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Evrart and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys. Oh, Mr. Evrart is where he always is. In his office, of course. Bye-bye now.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Evrart Claire, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat.
He's trying to throw you off your game with this Dubois nonsense. Don't give him the pleasure.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that boy is.
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Okay. I respect a man with principles. No handouts, then. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
I know everything, Harry. Right now, I know that you're worried. Don't be worried. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Claire's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children are gonna shoot themselves with it. You want to cry? God, you're weak. Whatever you do, don't cry. You'll think you're disgusting.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. Whatever noble intentions you once had as a police officer, you're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
Yes, it can be difficult to be on the receiving end of so much distrust and outright hatred.
Nothing you can say would make you feel any better now. Cop gives up the detective genre for social realism. Another police officer resigned from the RCM following a nervous breakdown. He now lives under a bridge, drinking and occasionally throwing excrement at passers-by, shouting, "I never loved that woman." When asked to comment, former colleagues objected to the theory that his psychological disintegration was precipitated by his wife leaving him. "It's because the Furrows lost that match," said Captain Ptolemy Price, once the man's superior officer. "It's because he couldn't get a big gun from acquisitions, and anyway, police work really burns you out after a while," Satellite Officer Jean-Vic Mayer, the deranged former cop's partner, commented. Sergeant Mac Torson, another former colleague, did not propose any theories, merely saying, whatever happened to him wasn't about birds. He got Before you is a walrus of a man. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his...
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you. I'm Evrart Claire. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up.
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand...
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as...
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. He's trying to throw you off your game with this Dubois nonsense. Don't give him the pleasure.
Very well, Mr. Dubois. I respect a man with strong convictions. I, too, have convictions. One of which is that I will not engage with any man who won't face me at eye level. Should you find yourself more amenable in the future, I'd gladly resume our conversation. But until then, I'm afraid I must ask you to leave.
You're no Titan of Elysium, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down or leave.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Okay. I respect a man with principles. No handouts, then. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter.
His slug-like. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull.
Are you all right, Harry? You say you got this, but you seem a little anxious to me. Don't be. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children...
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Claire's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Officer, we will deal with...
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're...
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good.
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. Whatever noble intentions you once had as a police officer, you're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
Fuck me? Please leave the rage you have for after we finish investigation.
Nothing you can say would make you feel any better. Cop gives up the detective genre for social realism. Another police officer resigned. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. Because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism. They represent a society in accord with the natural world and at the same time above it. Because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. After rifling the pages with your thumb, the magazine is divided into several sections. International developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. Why they decided to title this one section in Volda is beyond. It evokes a sense. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her. The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, you gather that it has some. If you don't follow it, you only ever hear about the ludicrous sponsorships and obscene death toll. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about where to even start. For one, there's all of it, basically. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of at the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, it's the visions of brand names being engulfed. That's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point of these sorts of articles is to let someone else read.
Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? Well, there you have it. No reason to get hung up on the pretentious rambling. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before. Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. With great effort, he
Have a good day, Mr. Dubois. I hope time is on your side this time. Please, take a seat. Have a good day, Mr. Dubois. I'm sure I'll be seeing you around. Mr. Dubois, I hope time is on your side this time. Please, take a seat. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception. This should take... It should be sufficient.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or...
No.
Cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a comically oversized novelty. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter.
His slug-like lips move. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its...
Are you all right, Harry? It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You want to cry.
Mr. Dubois, you don't look so good. Mr. Dubois, I hope time is on your side this... Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you are so tell me.
The chair you're sitting on.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got... This should take... It should be sufficient.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff.
Don't mention it. But...
Is he? He's not.
Now, I'd like to set your mind...
His slug-like lips move. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape it.
Are you all right, Harry? It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now.
Officer,
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're...
yes? What do you want to know? You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? There's no reason to wing anything. If you didn't get the brief, that's 3 days ago, The RCM emergencies desk received a report about a security guard. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but okay then. Was there anything else you wanted to know? Good.
Control panel. Marsh. On. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet thunk,
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
The crane does not return to its original position. It does not move. Before you stands a cargo container. Just one of many in the yard.
You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because you wanted to interact with a cargo container. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to get the body down from the tree.
You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement. No reply. No reply.
Hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Lorraine. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's like that old... Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
The containers in the yard are green in Wild Pine's livery, and the mountains rising behind Leo is all red in Union color. It's like Some red infection was spreading outwards from the container yard's core.
Yes, they are hiding it from the inside. All the red containers have the Debarders Union logo on them.
No, not really. Mr. Evrart doesn't tell me all the big things. Says I go and tell them to everyone. Oh, no trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. Oh, yes. Born and raised in Arish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new people say us Ubis are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from. No, sir. Those are just nasty rumors.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir. Yes?
rusting control panel. With the crane does not return no screech of metal.
Mr. Dubois, I hope time is on your side this time. Please, take a seat. Please, Mr. Dubois.
He's trying to throw you off your game with this Dubois nonsense. Don't give him the pleasure.
Very well, Mr. Dubois. I too have convictions. One of which, should you find yourself...
You're no Titan affiliation, buddy. He's got you in a fork. Sit down or leave.
Mr. Dubois, I hope time is on your side this time. Please, take a seat. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me.
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's
By the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a This should take care of... It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Don't mention it. But also, don't forget it. I'm just kidding, of course.
Is he? He's not.
Now, I'd like to set your...
His slug-like lips. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only two words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
Are you all right, Harry? It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out...
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're...
Mr. Dubois.
What is...
Mr. Dubois. Mr. Dubois. Harry! Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a glass of water or something? Are you having some kind of medical emergency?
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time. And
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you some questions pertaining to a murder.
It is about time to stop embarrassing yourself. Questions will help you regain some of your lost dignity.
You might have noticed there's one hanging on a tree behind the hostel cafeteria.
Oh my! Don't take this question personally, but why would I get involved in this matter?
Mr. Claire, the man was hanged with a cargo belt. A steel-reinforced cargo belt. It's safe to assume the Union had something to do with the murder. Besides, getting the body down would benefit all of us. It's a stain on the neighborhood.
I can certainly see how having him up there might start affecting some real estate values. But of course, all joking aside, I am going to help you. Jean-Luc, my boy, I'm sending 2 police officers down. They have a dead body in a tree problem they need help with. Namely, they need it to be taken down. And, Jean, please take it easy with the race science. He's had enough of that. You can find Jean-Luc down at the gates, but you already knew that. Anyway, he's going to help you. Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Evrart, I call you Harry.
That's what the hanged corpse called you, Harry.
My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very low.
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion. I mean, see what his game is first.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
Words flow like a river of honey from his lips. I guess word has already reached him. No matter. No.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity right now.
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first. Everart's large hands are covering the folder, but the look on his face says, I know everything about you, Harry.
Oh, Harry. Oh, wow. This is really something.
I'm sure it's not that bad. At worst, he has an old RCM folder, and I very much doubt even that.
So how about it, Harry? You need assistance, I presume? Ah, this? My friends in your organization gave it to me, Harry.
This translates into, aha, you guys are so
I find that very suspicious. May I have a look?
I'm afraid this is meant for Union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry. Of course, Harry, of course. Let's not linger on personal details and amnesia. You wanted something from me. My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbour. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them. Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it.
Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone, searching every playground, asking kids, your gun will be found, Harry. Let me...
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage.
Harry, Harry. I was only trying to be tactful. A lost gun is a dangerous thing. I can't have it around if kids could be playing gun roulette with it as we speak. Teenage gangs could be arming themselves. Get a hold of yourself, Harry.
I assure you, we are working on locating the missing section.
The lieutenant is concerned about the lost gun and feels that the fact you haven't prioritized looking for it is unfortunate, if inevitable, and doesn't put the RCM in a...
Excellent, Mr. Kitsuragi. That's excellent news. Looks like we have a friendly gun-finding competition on our hands. Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to help you like I'm helping you with the body and your lost gun. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to interview me. But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors. Oh, you're being too modest, my friend. But don't worry, this annoying thing I have is completely legal. I just need you to open...
The stars aligned into a cosmic frown here. He has your fate decided. Bide your time, however, and let the stars continue their course, and that frown shall turn into a smile. Only if you play along.
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around all day.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist outside help. So what will it be, Harry? Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is watching, they start acting foolishly. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Fantastic, my friend. Just let me know when it's done and we can take our friendship to the next level. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Ardent socialist. A real free thinker too. He'll tell you precisely where the door is. One last thing, Harry. Just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door. I don't know what that means, Harry. Shady brew? There are so many moving parts in my operation. You know what? Don't even tell me. Whatever it is, do it. Surprise me. Just one thing. If you can, make it even.
He sincerely has no idea what you were talking about. And he doesn't care either.
Honestly, I didn't want to bring it up, Harry. I heard you have become Measurehead's race pupil. Of course, Harry, of course. You're not some kind of a fantastic racist now. And rest assured, no one's gonna hear about it. No one's gonna know what you did with race there, Harry. Your race bonanza is safe with me. Word of how racy it got will never... Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. Let's hear it, Harry. It's Harry. Harry Dubois. No, I'm really not. You are Harry. And I can work with you, Harry. Now, what else can I do for you? But of course, Harry. Your precinct is the 41st and you live in Jamrock. You're a...
He doesn't really seem to know any more about it.
Family? Harry, you're not a family man. There's not one peep of family in here. Unless you think you're a family man. Do you strike yourself as a family man, Harry? Family, Harry, is the most important thing in the world. Well, Harry, if I were to sum you up in one word, it would be apologetic. Yes, you seem to be, a lot of the time, but right now there's no reason to be. Let loose a little. Be you. Of course, Harry, of course. Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now. A real red and white Union man. Take care, Harry.
Hey, so we've been monitoring you internally, and now we know your Copo type. Yes, guess what's yours? Yes, sorry cop. The cop who's sorriest. Let's make it official then, shall we? Huge lack of enthusiasm going on in here. No, you don't. Come on. You'll be back to saying sorry in 2 minutes. Stop wasting time and begin the repentance. Wow. Okay. Fuck off. Maybe we were wrong about... Before the cargo container. Its draw has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown slightly.
Unpromising race pupil returned. So it was. My unpromising race pupil entered the harbor and used my superior.
You're so noble, Measurehead.
There's a but.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on the bridge. That someone needs to be you.
That would mean you're openly showing the people that you're taking the humans' side.
Yes, that is precisely what it means, Homunculus. This is not going to happen any other...
This is the uncomfortable result of not taking it down ourselves. I can live with a compromise.
Listen to your little friend. He is wise in his childlike way. His mysterious race may yet prove fierce competition to my babe. See that they stay here the whole time.
The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
So, you guys are like cops or something? Cool, I like men with guns and power. I'm Katya, by the way.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Evrat's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
And who are you? What is your business here? Why are your clothes 4 sizes too small for you?
The man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with Ray's victory today. Farewell, ham sandwich. You are a Union man from now on.
So, how'd you like our harbor?
You've been in there, he means. Talked to the boss man too, probably.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains. Right, you talk to the boss, eye to eye, like men of the plain. If you have any more questions, I'm set to talk. A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open? Oh, say no more. I got you. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say. Oh, so the none of the above type, are you? I get it, I get it. I like to keep my distance too. But it doesn't matter. It's a good thing you're doing. Thanks. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the wailing in rags. That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized. Means we keep out of each other's business.
Okay, but where did you get the key from?
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. We talked about life and things that really, truly matter. None of this mess we're in. This jiving and juggling. What's it for? To feed our children, I guess. I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture stuff. Who I am, who you are, what we are fighting for.
He means he's not going to tell you, cause he doesn't know. But he will shoot his mouth off with you now that you're working for Evrart. Who he is, and what they're fighting for. This is interesting.
The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course. Your dead guy was an enemy combatant. He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men. with all sorts of skills.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad.